taking off Saturday, so you know we outside. Oh, I need my charger. Hold on a second. Ooh, are we doing something? Is it gonna be like a staycation? Gonna be a straight putita all weekend? Yo, let's go, bro. I love that for you, man. Channel my inner Rick. First of all, I don't be a putita like that, bro. Why everybody be thinking I be a little putita out there, yo? I'm classy. I'm very classy. Ooh, shit, bro. You're gonna have a blast. Make sure you bring a lot of water and wear as little clothing as possible. Yo, Duff, how you doing today, bro? How that temperature treat you, bro? Almost 100 degrees is wild. I have to stress this, yo. I love Snapchat now because I get to see what you guys do on your day-to-day basis. I know Dove was out here doing his disc. What was it called again? Disc golf, right? What the you? Wait, you had a tornado warning in the same? Well, you know what though? It makes sense because I mean the way tornadoes start is when a cold front and a hot front meet each other. So I could see that. But yeah, I know Duff was doing his disc golf. I saw Carly. Carly was out here doing her kayaking. Then let me see you got bad thunderstorms coming through now. Electricity keeps flickering, hoping it's gonna hold out. Yo, I hope that for you too, Dwight. We had bad well, it wasn't bad, but we had thunderstorms last night. What? Duff is an avid Duff partakes a lot in disc golf. I think like in the past 3 days in a row he's been doing disc golf. And it's been good to see, bro. Oh wait, hold on. It's probably my game only because it's not me. So it's my game. So give me a sec. All right. Just had to reset the capture card. If you guys are about that life, you know. I've been on a dad joke tear today. I know that Duff and a few other people have been on the receiving end of my dad jokes.
How delightful. It still recalls your scent.
What the?
When that monkey was alive, he was all about weeping and begging for help. Now, even in death, he led all you younglings right to me. This sack of mine can barely fit you all.
He said this sack of mine could barely fit you all.
One way up this one for your master.
That's a fucking phrase, bro.
See if this monkey merits a place amongst my disciples.
Shit. Okay, we got a dragon. We got a dragon. Shit. Damn. Holy shit, when am I gonna be able to attack you, bro? Can't even get close to him. Trying to get interrogated tonight, bro. Man, shout out to Prison School. If you guys haven't watched that anime, man, make sure y'all watch it. Educate yourselves. Get more cultured. Hey, is it playing Mr. Rager again? Come on in, Candy. Yo, Serpent. Serpent, I was told that you got the plat to Crash 4. G fucking G's, gamer. All right, we're gonna have to dragon. Oh, I know Zom definitely loves themselves a good bad dragon. Welcome on in, J Dot. What's up, man? Shit. Oh, this is gonna KO me. Oh, it doesn't. How am I supposed to hit you if I can't even? Touch this guy. Spicy Yuki, welcome on in. These are your lovely degenerates, welcome on in.
Are you gonna cry? It's your pants, maybe? Maybe shit and cum?
Welcome to the stream.
Oh, say less.
Joy!
Actually, Zom, it's 169 bits. It's not 200. Although, if y'all want to give me 200, by all means, go ahead and give me 200. I'll take it. But yo, we outside.
We outside!
Good vibes and good times. Welcome on in.
Are you gonna cry? Piss your pants, maybe? Maybe shit and cum?
You can do all of the above. Just clean up after yourselves, all right?
Nasty bitch.
Zom, what were you playing? What were you doing? I'm over here. That was my second attempt at that boss. I don't know how I'm gonna touch the boss, but I gotta figure out a way. Platinum Serpent. How many hours did it take you to do that, by the way? Blade Brown, welcome on in. Oh shit, Sacred. Yo, Ern, you know Zom? Well, I mean, Zom does follow Rad. So yeah, y'all should know each other. Yo, Kensington, welcome on in, man. What's up, guys? Shit, all the homies are here. I missed all your names. I'm sorry, guys, but welcome on in, man. Mr. Hoo-Ha.
Big dick boy!
Welcome on in. You were playing Skyward Sword and telling people to come quickly. No, you don't want to come quickly. Do not come. Do not come. I see that. I see that. Ern, how you been? How's everything with you, Ern? Also, sorry, guys. But... Hold on. I gotta put on my boss battle music because where's my boss battle music?
Bussy.
No, that's not my boss battle music. Been busy as a bees this month, and it's gonna continue. I gotta fix up the house for selling soon. Yo, are we selling for like greener pastures? I hope we are. And if you are, I do hope you get like the best out of your, you know, the best out of selling your house. Mr. Hoo-Ha, how am I liking this game? I'm liking it a lot. I do wish it had a parry system. That's my only qualm about the game. It doesn't really have a parry system. Aesthetically, I think it's I like it a lot. It reminds me of Sekiro. It doesn't play like Sekiro though. It doesn't play like a Soulsborne game either. I don't like people saying that it's a very Soulsborne like game. It's not. There's literally no there's no consequence to you dying. You know what I mean? No, that I know. I know it has a parry like in the stance, but I just wish overall you could just parry in any stance. You know what I mean? But I like it. I like it a lot. Do I think it'll win Game of the Year? I personally wouldn't vote it for Game of the Year. If I were to rate it out of 10, I'd say I give it like a good maybe 7 out of 10. It's not that difficult either. I've been breezing through it. I only have like, I want to say I only have like 16 hours played, and we already fought like I don't know, we fought a good amount of bosses. But yeah. But Zom, I'm definitely excited for you. Yeah, me and the boyfriend gonna upgrade. Yo, I fucking love that. All right, let me lock in. Let me lock in real quick. Get fucked. Stay still. Get your ass back down. Hit him, let him come back down. Oh, shit. Ern, thank you for the lurk. Shit.
Holy shit.
Here's to 47 plus more months. Love you, dude.
Fuck, I ran out of mana. Ooh, hold that, boy. Stay down. Oh shit, he does it through 60. Come on, come on. No, let me just get these last hits. All these perfect dodges for what? I can't even get close to you. Oh, that's my chance right here. Fuck. Oh, shit. Oh my god, what a move. Oh, missed. Gord. He just needs one more hit. Oh, just need one more hit. Wait, you and Duff exchange disc pics? Kokomo when you exchange districts with one another. What have you been doing, Swellwick? I've been doing all right.
Have chosen your way.
I've been doing good, Zom. I've been touching a lot of grass this month of August. I think the whole month of August I've only streamed like maybe 4 times. So I've been touching a lot of grass. Gonna keep touching grass this August. So love that about you know, my August so far. Aside from that though, I've been doing good. I don't know if you've seen, but I got new tattoos. One of my tattoos. I got my Vegeta. It's over 8,000, and I got my Majin Buu. So I got my tattoo appointment coming up for the other 3 that I need to get.
A deity or a young.
Okay.
I need a whiff of monkey stench. Stay where you are, newcomer.
That's kind of racist, bro.
Wanderers in this place meet their demise. Be warned.
You're getting the F to me, and I'm getting the Ray tattoo, right?
Simply leave the cage that yellow brow.
Gonna stuff my face with some chicken wings and hopefully come back watch you. Thank you for your presence, Rick. Zom, yo, thank you for the fucking kind words. I seriously appreciate you.
Rest. Dead.
But yeah, go ahead. What kind of wings are we having? We getting some like lemon pepper wings? What kind of wings are we having? Homemade wings? Wingstop? Buffalo Wild Wings? Like, talk to me real quick before you leave. Spicy wings? I like that. I like that talk. You're getting off the train? All right, yo, Godspeed, Notorious. Tatsuya, I hope you're well. I hope you're doing well. Why? What the hell happened to my OBS? There we go. Like we go to a pub where the pitcher is cheap and the wings are, oh, those are the best wings.
Here is where
Shit, go ahead and have fun. I'll definitely be here, man. I'm probably gonna be streaming for like maybe at least 6 hours, so I'll definitely be here. You go ahead and have all the fun.
that includes yours too. Why bother fighting it? Just abandon your senses.
Yo, by the way, I appreciate everybody for all the follows. My follows are anonymous. So, if you want to remain in the shadows, by all means, man, thank you so much for the support. If you want to come out, pop out, show out, say what's up, we say hi back. So thank you guys, man. Seriously. So Mr. Hoo-Ha, I'm assuming that I don't want to assume, but judging by the way you're talking, you've beaten the game already? Or have you seen people play the game? How does one have sex with a mermaid? Oh, straight face fucking. Just straight up face fucking. You could alternatively use the gills too, but yeah, just straight face fucking. All right, what the hell is this? This is something new. Also, if the mermaid is blessed, I mean, a good old titty fuck doesn't, you know, it goes a long way. All right, I don't know what this is, but oh shit! Damn, that took a big hit right there. Where did he go? Oh shit! get 1,600 from these guys. Wait, can I not heal? Can I not heal when I'm under that spell? Oh, you motherfucker, bro. Yo, Blade Brown, how would you fuck a mermaid? I feel like my answers were well thought out. Straight tit job with a blowjob combo. I respect that, man. Oh no, don't worry, Mr. Hu. I was just saying good luck, bro. Good luck with your new game plus plus. Under the sea, down when it's wetter, darling is better. Just getting that fishussy. Oh my god. I don't know a fish's anatomy that well, but don't they like pee and shit from the same hole? I mean, it doesn't matter to me though. I've eaten ass before, so I'm not picky. I guess you're right. All right, so there's nothing I can do to open these yet. This is... What is this? What's happening?
My nipples are hard as diamonds right now.
Who's doing this to me though, bro? Ray, what's up, Brody?
Join! Join!
I hate you guys.
These nuts.
Oh, this guy? Is this the guy that did this to me? Because my eyes are still red.
Bussy. Everybody, welcome to freaking wettest.
Join!
Shit, I was about to say some wild shit.
Join!
Stop it with the join! No one is joining.
Join! Join! Join!
I'm gonna put everything behind the paywall, bro. Y'all gonna have to pay for everything in here. Oh, you motherfucker. What do you mean that's crazy? All your other favorite streamers do that. Why can't I do that?
Oh no! Our table! It's broken! Well, the table broke. Yeah.
And you be bored as fuck over there? Yeah, but at least they're making money. I gotta make money somehow too. I can't keep stealing fucking Hansbula's fee picks.
Yeah.
Lurking in the shadows.
Leo, welcome on in. Also,
Join!
Goodbye, Leo. Have a great one.
Join!
I just don't think there's anybody better. Really? You got it. You got it. Hey, thank you. Look at us. Hey, look at us. Look at us. Huh? Look at us.
Yeah, bitch.
Yeah, bitch. Yo, welcome on in, Funk. Yo, Funk, thank you for trading dad jokes with me today. You're the only person that gave me a dad joke back. Everybody else is.
Join! Join! Join!
These nuts.
Join! Join!
Oh, Hansbula, don't worry about it.
Join!
Where? Oh.
Yo, did everybody eat today? Oh, you son bitch. Oh, okay, X. I see you, King.
Yeah.
Oh my God, how you liking the new season, Tatsuya? On Thursday and Friday, I will probably be doing I'm not 100% sure, but I might be doing a charity stream Thursday and Friday. Not for any big charity, but for a streamer friend of mine who's going through some shit. So I'm gonna be doing that. I'm not 100% sure yet, because I kind of want to prepare for it a bit. But I will be bringing back like my sub wheel. And I'll also be adding a lot of incentives so that Zelda could get treats on stream. I'm trying to think what other things I'm coming up with. I got it, man. I gotta do something. Oh yeah, you could definitely pet the dog. Zelda would fucking love it. I mean, if you want to, Hansbula, I could bark for you too if you want. You know. I'm sorry, Funky. I had to. They left it open. I had to. What the fuck? Oh, damn. Okay. Oh, you are not one to play with.
Watcher leaving open.
That shit he almost killed me. I didn't like that one bit. Leaving it open was my nick. That first of all, how do you First of all, no. First of all, how do y'all be saying "hey yo" to me, and y'all don't be reading the shit y'all be saying? All right, I got reason to say the shit that I say. Okay, y'all, have y'all seen fucking Hansbula, yo? For no fucking reason, yo. She don't even be trying. Bad as fuck. Y'all be barking at her too. Shit. Fuck all y'all. Exactly what he said.
I'm in danger.
Who the fuck threw a rock at me? Oh shit, homie. Oh, motherfucker. Nah, y'all can't be doing that, man. I'm about to take away that command.
Police! Help!
That shit is crazy. Y'all can't be doing that.
Police! Help!
I'm about to just leave it as a Teletubby thing.
Triggered.
Oh, chill, homie. What's over there? I don't want to miss anything. I feel like I'm missing stuff. Like there's two guys all the way down. Honey is pretty fucking bad, not gonna lie. Yo, and the fact, yo, honestly, like, y'all only seen her in pictures, bro. She's pretty in person. There's somebody down there? Can I jump down there? Oh!
You see how I compliment my friends, very tactful, very mature.
Man, I can't wait for fucking Demure to fucking instant transmission out of this fucking planet, bro. Wait, Honey streams? Oh, you used to? Damn. We missed out on that? That's crazy. Also, is this the way? Oh, this is where I started from. Okay, so we...
Join!
I hear an enemy. I hear growling, but I just don't see it. Candy needs to make a comeback for sure, but I'm gonna give Candy grace. She just made her way back to Twitch in general, so. Damn, X, what do my streams make you do? Do my streams make you tingle anyway, bro? Damn, that's all I get? It's just the hard nipples? Shit. About to die.
Your streams make my left arm tingle.
That's not my streams. That's a stroke. What is going on right now? What is happening
Exactly.
here? That, yo. Why are you so fucking thirsty, bro? fuck Mafu messing with y'all. Is it a grapefruit? Candy out here asking the real question. Oh my god, bro, I can't see. Damn, yo, can I join you on that co-stream? Like, what's up? Y'all be leaving me out of all the cool shit, yo, and I don't be liking that. I don't appreciate that. Damn, too bad? That's crazy. One day, guys, I'm not gonna be around anymore. And y'all gonna be like, damn, I should have been nicer to Rick. And you know what? I'm gonna put that on my tombstone and be like, yo, yeah, should have been nicer to me. And I'm gonna at y'all too.
That got darker than me.
You're not my dad!
Shit, that's pretty fucking dark. that's crazy. Fucking. Welcome on in, homies. Follows are anonymous. I appreciate the support regardless, but if you want to pop out and show out and say what's up, you say hi back. And if you're lucky enough, Hans Bula might show feet.
How you at somebody on a tombstone? What kind of digital tombstone is this?
Yo, imagine I mean, you know what? I'm surprised. I'm so surprised that like digital tombstones don't exist yet. Y'all ever thought about that? Unless they do, and I just don't know about it, but I feel like digital tombstones don't exist.
Okay, what's up with you and my feet, cause I haven't shown these babies to anyone for free kek.
But you heard how she said she hasn't shown anyone these for free, which means she has shown them for the right price though. So everybody, yo, holla at your girl, man. Make sure you come with that paper though.
Bruh.
I didn't say it, you said it. You literally wrote, "What's up with you and my feet? Because I haven't shown these babies to anyone for free." You literally wrote that, which means you have shown them before. I'm just saying. I'm going by grammar and the English language. I guess I should fight this guy. I mean, I'm already at level 50. All right, let's go this way. Because we went the other way before. It took us all the way back down. I don't care about feet anyways. Like feet don't gross me out. Like I don't get grossed out by feet, but feet don't do anything for me in particular. I could however appreciate like, I don't know, like a nice pedicure and stuff. I could appreciate that, but aside from that, no, feet don't do shit for me. I do look at, that's one of the first things I look at though. When I meet somebody, I look at their hands to see like how they maintain their nails, and I look at their feet, but not necessarily their feet. Like I just look at like what kind of sneakers and stuff you're wearing, just to see like how you maintain yourself. Because like if you take care of your hands and you take care of your feet, then I automatically assume that you take care of everything else. Hopefully, you know what I mean? But like, if I see that you can't even take care of your damn, like hands and stuff, then in my head it's like your hygiene has to be wild. You get what I mean? Damn right. You're damn right you're a fucking cochina if you can't take care of your damn hands and feet, bro. You know what I found very alarming too? That a lot of people don't wash the bottom part of their legs. I just find that so wild. Like they be thinking, oh, you know, the soap comes down, bro. Like, no.
Lurking in the shadows.
I survived that. Oh shit, he came for the smoke though. Oh, my man's came for the smoke. you get the ick when a man compliments your feet? Why is that? Why is that an ick though? Okay, because I was gonna say, like, I was gonna like ask, what if they what if they compliment other body parts of yours? That like, I don't know. When someone compliments a feature of you, I don't necessarily think they're sexualizing the feature. Like with Hansbula. When I saw her in person and all I saw were those big ass brown eyes, I didn't necessarily think anything sexual about the eyes. I just haven't seen eyes that big and brown on such a small thing. They literally look like the Puss in Boots eyes, bro. Nothing over here. Alright, we gotta go back across. I need to find out how to open up those purple prison cells. No, you know what? Honestly, though, Candy, everybody likes being sexualized. But you only like, and I noticed this, and ain't nothing wrong with it, though. Everybody likes to only be sexualized by the person that they want. Because if you get sexualized by somebody you don't want, then that gives people the ick. Down there.
Ugh. Brother, ugh. What's that?
What's that? Oh, you fucking cuck, bro.
Join!
That was a new enemy. Oh. Motherfucker. Oh, homie's down there. Am I wrong to say that though? That like everybody likes to be sexualized, it just has to come from the person that they want? I also feel like men are more accepting about being sexualized because they rarely have it happen to them, but women often are tired of being sexualized because it happens to them too much. Ooh, I sent that man to the fucking abyss, bro.
This is everywhere.
Bro, that motherfucker's hitting me from deep. That's what she said. I'm going over here looking like I could look over the cliff and see what's going on. Y'all ever do that? Y'all ever just go like this? Like, oh shit, let me see what I can see over there.
What's the procedure? Stay calm! Wait. Everybody calm down!
Void! Void, I love you, man. Germ, welcome on in. How you doing? Panda, I hope you're well. I hope things have settled down with you and your family after that, you know, the unfortunate news a few months back. You've been in my thoughts, Panda. Void, how you doing, man? Wait, Panda and Void. Wait, it's a double raid? V-Dog, welcome on in, V-Dog. What's up, Queen?
To fucking.
We were just talking about being over sexualized or under sexualized as a sex. Ryomi, welcome on in. Did I say your name right? Ryomai 13, Ryomi. Please tell me how to say your name. Germ, I love that you're a 4. It's always fucking awesome seeing you. How are you doing, Void? How's everything? How are the streams? Punisher, welcome on in. Punisher 619. Okay. We out here, Cali, living it up. Nettie, yo, Nettie, where you been at, man? What's up?
We outside!
You talked about me being sexy? No, but I mean, you're a perfect example of what we're talking about too, though, honestly. Like, we're talking about, like, when it comes to, like, the different sexes, I feel like men are more tolerant about being sexualized because it barely happens to them, whereas women are pretty much over it because women get overly sexualized, so they're like not again. So we were talking about that, and then we were talking about one of my mods' feet because she's shown her feet for money, and so yeah, that's what we were talking about. You know what I mean? Shout out to Hansbula. But yeah, welcome on in, guys. Oh, let me play this. See, you know what, Void, though? Like, and again, this wasn't me this wasn't me saying that every man enjoys it. I, for one, if I was walking down the street and I got catcalled, which, like, you know, I mean, it used to happen to me a lot back when I was younger, but like, if I'm talking about like now, I I would just take it as a compliment, unless they're you know, they're catcalling me and they'd be like, damn, I can't wait to put my kneecap in your ass or something. Then that's like, okay, like that's a little too aggressive, bro. Like, you know, take me to dinner first before you think about doing that stuff. You know what I mean? But other than that, like if you tell me like, you know, hey, you know what them lips do? Because I used to, like, back when I was younger, I used to get a lot of fucking catcalling because of my lips, because I have pretty big lips, and so I used to get catcalled a lot. Also, Jip the first way, Ryomi, not my. Okay, gotcha, Ryomi. And yes, curious practices happen a lot in this channel, by the way. For 169 bits to Ryomi, you could actually come on me. So there's that. Also,
are you gonna cry? Piss your pants maybe? Maybe shit and come?
All right, Nettie, I see what you write here. Let's see. Been dealing with health stuff. I'm having my rip replacement on you mean hip replacement? You're having a hip replacement? Nettie, you're younger than me. What the fuck? What happened? Well, Void was stretching his wife and then all of a sudden wanted to end stream, so I think he's doing okay in that department. Oh my god. Panda, where's Panda at? I feel like Panda got quiet. I wanna welcome on in Panda too, man. I hope you guys have been doing well, man. What were you guys doing? Were you guys doing a co-stream together? Dude, gotta run. Indy is going to bed, and I want to catch a video with her, so I'm alert. Yeah. Thank you so much, Void. Send my regards to Indy. I love you both, and I can't wait to have more of your, more of your schnitzel, whenever I see you again. So I love you, man. Rat Queen, welcome on in. Yeah, I've been dealing with it for 5 years, so financially getting it sorted, finally. Yeah, but like how did the hip fuck up in the first place, bro? Panda's currently hungry. Oh yeah. By all means, guys, like if you guys got to do like the post-stream stuff and eat one, I just wanted to know like if you guys were doing a co-stream. And again, once again, thank you for, you know what, let's go to the just chatting screen. Actually, this is my just chatting screen. The background was made by Slothy Sloth. Lurking in the shadows. So yeah, I have a benign tumor and extreme arthritis in the hip. Damn, I'm sorry to hear that, yo. Yeah, I know arthritis ain't no joke, ain't no fun either though. Arthritis ain't no fun. My mom, but I mean, like, my mom is just turning 69. Nice. But she just found that she had arthritis in her knees and in her ankle. So, but I mean, at least it's happening to her while she's 69. You know what I mean? Not like while she's in her 20s and stuff. So I feel for you when it comes to that, though. Dennis, welcome on in, Dennis. How you doing, bro? Yo, big shout outs to Dennis, man. He's also going through a weight loss journey. And very proud of him, man. It's not easy out there, especially with all the temptations. The year alerts happen whenever people come into stream, and basically I try to collect either like fellow streamers or like my moderators and stuff, if they have cameras and whatnot and they want to record a year, I ask them to do that, and then I use it as a year command when people come in, because your boy is from New York, and that's what we do in New York when we say hi. Panda would never co-stream with me. I'm too asymmetrical for them. Damn it. God damn it, Void. Have a great night, man. rheumatoid arthritis can happen at any age. It's definitely rough at a younger age. No, that I'm very well aware of that. But yes, especially at a younger age, it sucks. It really does suck.
Bussy.
We're gonna pull it like a pilgrim.
Yeah, go follow that man. He's extra meaty. You know what? I should actually ask Void to record a year. I think that'd be pretty freaking cool. The chat overlay is sick. Way. Yeah, thank you, man. Wait, are you talking about like this? Like the just chatting background? That was made by Slothy Sloth. Or are you talking about the actual chat that I'm looking at? Either way, thanks. Speaking of extra meaty, treated myself today with all meat Detroit style. You know what we got to do, Max? Actually, one day, Max. One day, me, you, Maddie, and Duff. We got to go to like a fucking Fogo de Chao, man. Us four, the big meaty man slapping me. We got to go to like a Brazilian churrasqueria, a Brazilian steakhouse, and just have that fucking coaster on green until they kick us out. Also, Max, I don't know if Jax told you. I'm sure Jax has told you, but October 5th, a Ren Fair up here in New York. I'm still not sure if I did say I was 100% committed until I remembered that like that's my mother's birthday weekend. But we normally celebrate my mom's birthday on the day of, which is on the 7th. So on Monday, I mean, we could do stuff. Well, I gotta see how things go. Talk about never getting invited to the fun stuff. First of all, Candy, all right, I was the one that directly told you we weren't doing any of the crazy stuff because you weren't there. You were a prime missing ingredient. And the reason that I mentioned those three names off the top of my head is because we are known as the big meaty men slapping meat. Anyone's always welcome. Anyone's welcome. We were supposed to have Notorious's meet, but unfortunately COVID won that battle, so we couldn't. But I still look forward to Notorious's meet. Also, time off is an issue. Yeah, I kind of figured that. But I mean, I would still like to go to the Ren Fair over by like you or Duff's. You know what I mean? Because I know we've been talking about that for a while. I mean, that would probably be like my first time. That would probably be my first time meeting Holly too. So I'm looking forward to that. We could have like the throuple could finally meet in person. What, if you don't mind me asking, what makes it one of the best ones in the country? I'm assuming like each Ren Fair is different depending on like the venue and the space that they hold it at. I just want to go jousting. Like I want to go jousting. I'm good at riding a horse, so I mean I know they would probably never let me do it, but you know. That's a bucket list thing. That's one of my bucket list things. I want to go jousting. We could still joist with just some adjustments. Are we talking about meat sticks? Are we going to be using our meat sticks and jousting one another? Nettie. Regarding the surgery, like, did they tell you like how much time you're gonna probably need to like, you know, heal and stuff? I'm assuming like maybe like 6 months, right? That's a pretty big surgery, bro. Obvio. My bad. I just gotta clarify. I know Jax made your day candy when she added those alien emotes. Also, by the way, guys, we're playing Black Myth Wukong. Pretty good game. In my opinion, well, I mean, I'm only in chapter 3 right now. But it's been a pretty easy ride for the first 3 chapters. If I were to like, cause I know everyone's comparing it to like Soulsborne games and stuff. So if I had to rank it in difficulty, it would definitely be the easiest one out of all the Soulsborne games that I played. I've yet to play Elden Ring, but I also hear that Elden Ring is probably one of the easiest Soulsborne games out there, especially with that whole like summoning system and stuff. You could get through stuff easy. But yeah, right now I'm playing Black Myth Wukong. I'm also in the middle of my Crash 4, but you can't see it here. So let's take this up. Let's go over here. I'm also in the middle of my Crash 4 Platinum. I gotta play Hades more too, but I want to do that more off stream because I mean, Hades is a fun, very, very, very fun game. I already beat it once with every weapon. But I have to do a lot of more grindy stuff to get the platinum for that. Got him. Wait, how come I didn't say the got him? Can you put Maddie's emote
We
again?
got him.
Is it because you didn't start the statement with the emote? Could that be it? It has to be first. Join. You could be my first. Okay, Notorious. Stop lying. We all know that he wouldn't be your first. You fucking... I don't know where the hell I went. Oh, so I dropped down and I got the... Oh, shit! Oh, shit! Where did he go? Oh, shit. Okay, so... I gotta rest. Oh boy, about to die. Oh, I got the music still playing. My bad, chat. Do you guys want music playing in the background or? Wait. Like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, it doesn't ruin my experience with the game. I'm already pretty immersed in the game. Fuck, bro. Okay. Well, he knocked my ass off the map. Oh, that's kind of OP. I don't really transform much though. We got new stuff. About to listen to some merengue and salsa while playing this game. Hey, yo, punishing downpour executes thunder damage. That's actually fire. Moderately increases damage dealt by pillar stance moves, which I don't use pillar stance, but think I'm gonna go with this one. Okay. Suavecito. All right. Everybody in chat, y'all good? Okay, what kind of cereal you got? Hey, which is the... What's the move? I can't find that. I can't find that punishing downpour. Oh, this punishment after 6 successful hits with the... I gotta take stuff away. Kicks, honey. This is done and trash is taken out. Time to chill and smoke. Speaking about chilling and smoking. I don't know. Should I get a pizza? Should we get a pizza today, chat? Yeah, you said yeah, pizza? Okay. Also, guys, now that I got a good amount of you guys here, I want to aim for this Thursday and Friday because Saturday I won't be streaming. Saturday I'm gonna be out touching grass. So this Thursday and Friday, we might be doing a fundraising stream for a fellow streamer friend. Oh, you can? You got blood work, mañana? All right, so then I'm not gonna do it then. Full free agency has come back to GB. I would like to assign to my team with links. Take your time as you'll get many offers. Me get many offers? Come on, Lefty. Even I know that. Wait, is free agency really out though? Like free agency is out there? Like we started already?
Bro.
Nah, yeah, I know. For the blood work test and stuff, they'd be like, yo, you can't eat for like 24 hours and shit like that. So I get it. All right, yeah. Oh, I'll definitely check it out, bro. I definitely check it out. I always watch the VODs. It's the only way I keep up with what's going on. Either that or I just go downstairs and I ask Prez what's going on. But I'd be down, man. I'd be down to play with you guys if you guys would have me. Also, am I going the right way? I gotta go. You're right, it is Taco Tuesday. Tacos, like how many ladies in here refer to their pussy as a taco? You know how guys refer to their meats as like we don't really refer to it in, like, you know, sausage and shit like that, you know? You never have? Girls do that? I don't know if they do that. I was just wondering. I'm just asking the real questions, bro. I'm just asking the questions that people are thinking. Right? Technically, it ain't a fucking taco unless there's some meat in it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, say less.
Join.
Fish tacos? not the fish tacos though then. Oh wait, is this the guy that I've been trying to fight that's been dodging me this whole time?